reviewed. I appreciate it.
Thanks for saying yes. She's like, well, I don't think she's gonna agree.
No. I'm a big fan. I like your channel. It's really awesome.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. Let me see. Wait for people to come in.
Cool.
Okay. Can you like see the, oh, okay, awesome. Hey, Kai Blake, Batman. Hey, Carl. Hey, guys. I'm gonna wait till more people come in. Hey, Timbo, AJ. Oh, hey, King and Queen. All right. Couple more minutes. Hey, Form 52. All right, cool. So we'll just get started. Hey, guys. What's up? I know it's been a minute since I've been on live, but I'm sorry, I guess. I brought a special guest. Hey, guys. All right, so today we have a very special guest. She's a metal DJ with her own radio show that broadcasts on Sundays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Is that correct?
Yeah, sorry. Yep, that's totally correct.
And basically, I discovered her, I want to say it was like maybe a year ago, around this time, like during the summer. And I don't know, I literally feel like I went into YouTube and I typed in Black girl and metal because I was just curious what would come up, and I didn't think I would find anything. But her channel came up, and your YouTube channel is MetalandCoffee, and I was like shook. I was like, oh my goodness, like a Black girl talking about metal on YouTube. I thought that was so cool. So basically, you were like one of the people that influenced me to like start my channel and everything. So that's why I wanted to. Like,
I don't believe you.
Facts. No, like, so yeah, guys. So basically, I'm gonna like interview her. You guys could get to know her more and what she's about, and then at the end, you guys can like ask questions and everything like that. So, let's see. Okay, so first, can you just like tell everyone a little bit about yourself and how did you get into metal?
Sure. So my name's Ebony, and I love Pink Nation, so thank you so much for having me. I love Pink Metalhead. I discovered your channel like almost a year ago too, and I was like, subscribe. So yeah, I'm forgetting my age. I'm like 30, and I started listening to metal when I was in college. I've always been into harder rock when I was growing up, but I wasn't as exposed to metal when I was younger until I got to college, until I got involved in my college radio station. And with doing college radio, mainstream music tends to be banned. You can't really play like super popular stuff like Metallica or Tool or something like that. So in those bands I absolutely loved. So that kind of forced me to venture deeper into the quote unquote unknowns. And that's when my metal knowledge just blew up and expanded. I just started finding all these bands that I love and that I could play on my radio show and just have fun with and just get so much exposure. I feel like when I started DJing at a radio station, I just learned about the various subgenres of metal, like sludge, doom, death, heavy metal in general, thrash metal, all that fun stuff. And I found my favorite flavor of metal, which is sludge, doom, and kind of like, sludge, doom, and progressive metal. I love all of that. So yeah, that's how I got into metal. And after I left college, I still wanted to be involved in sort of like social media and metal and being visible as a Black woman in metal.
Yeah.
So I started my own blog called MetalandCoffee, and that's where that came from. I don't know how I came up with MetalandCoffee, but it sounds good, so that's why I chose it. And of course, I love coffee as well. Right. So I started a blog. I started a YouTube channel that is severely neglected. I just don't have the time anymore, but I do maybe like twice a year post a video. And then I also got back into radio, and I've actually been diving into some podcast stuff. I have a couple things in the works right now. Right. But yeah, it's just so much fun to listen to metal, as you clearly know. Right. And it's just a really amazing form of music, and always related to the harder stuff. I love the guitars. I love growls and screaming and all that fun stuff. So yeah, that's how I got into metal.
Interesting. So like, what is your, like, do you have friends who are also into metal, especially growing up? Like, were other people around you into metal, or your family members, or?
Not really. I was always that weird girl who didn't like the regular mainstream music. I think like Little Kim was popping when I was younger, and I was that one kid who was listening to Linkin Park. So I've always strayed from the norm, but it's kind of nice growing up to see how being alternative, and I guess being specifically Afro alternative, has become very popular. So it's nice to openly like what I like. Right. When you're younger, you kind of like worry. Well, when I was younger, you were worried because that wasn't the norm to like that stuff. And now it's kind of like everyone's just like what the hell they want to like, and it's good.
Yeah, that's so true. Like, I feel like back then, like, you know how like little kids can be really ruthless too. So anything that's weird about you or just not with the norm, like people will choose that to like, you know, call you out on. But I feel like, especially being older, it's like we're all adults here. We can all like what we like. So
absolutely.
Great. And I like how you said that at the radio station you said that you were working for, you weren't allowed to play like the more mainstream metal bands and stuff like that. So that allowed you to like maybe go into the underground stuff and like find different subgenres.
Yeah. It was just very cool to realize how much the internet has made everything right at your fingertips. Right. And you know, bands that release stuff. I think recently I found a band who released their first album ever from Lithuania, this country I'd never heard of. I just found it and I loved it, and I started playing on my radio show, and they were just like so shocked that I found their music. I'm over here in the US playing music that they haven't even gotten a chance to officially release in the US. Right. So it's just so nice to have that, you know, that reach, the volume of music at your fingertips, but also it can be overwhelming to having so much music to listen to and feeling like you're having FOMO and feeling like you're just missing out on everything if you don't touch everything.
I get that completely. Yeah. So, being a Black woman, have you ever dealt with any challenges while you were being involved in the metal scene or in the metal community?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to think. My first interesting challenge. So there's a thing, right? So when you go to a metal show, it's still very, you know, you don't really see a lot of Black people at metal shows. So that's where I get a lot of interesting things that happen. Because I'm one of those people, I'm not afraid to go to shows by myself, and I'm not afraid to sit my ass in the front and be visible and like watch the band, because that's what I came there to do.
Get your coins.
So, yeah. And so when I was younger, I was at a metal fest, and it was just like band I didn't really know. I can't even remember their name, and thankfully I don't remember their name. But they basically, so when I got up between songs to go to the bathroom, which a normal person and a normal concert goer would do, like if you have to go to the bathroom between the set, you kind of just go. You don't wait till the set of a band that you don't know is over. But between songs, he basically mumbled over his breath like to the crowd is like, oh, it's okay. You don't know anything about this music anyway. And I'm like, okay, you know, I just kept walking. I didn't acknowledge that he said that, but I'm just like, was that necessary? You know, I don't think that was completely necessary to claim that I didn't know anything about music because I was choosing to take a bathroom break in between songs, and I respectfully waited till your song was over. I didn't get up in the middle of your song to go to the bathroom because I was enjoying watching you. But anyway, so that was, I get little tiny things like that, not consistently, but those oddball experiences will happen, and you just have to kind of let those things roll off your shoulder because it's not really worth the time. There's always gonna be some weird metalhead who's just so surprised to see you in some space that they think that's only for them, their kind, or something like that, and you kind of have to roll with it. And I love breaking through barriers, so that's why I go to shows by myself. Like, I get stares, I don't really give a shit, and I just love metal, so I just go and whatever. I make friends too, so it's fun. It's very fun.
Yeah, I can relate. I mean, more on like the internet level. Especially when I first started out, like I got a lot of comments, and I kind of still do, like here and there, people saying like, oh, she's just doing this for views, or, you know, really like she probably doesn't even really listen to this music or stuff like that. But like, thankfully, through this channel, I've realized that like over 90% of everyone's pretty open and really accepting, just overall. So, you know, like those bad apples, but yeah, just like I feel like overall everyone's, you know, interested to see a new face love the music that they love, right? So
yeah, absolutely, I agree.
Okay, Barry, do you have any questions you want to ask her? I have a lot more, but I guess not. Okay, so what made you want to start a radio show?
I just thought it was like so cool. It just made sense because I had been heavily into. Sorry, my dog's in the camera. I had been heavily into just music and really connecting with how it made me feel. And I've always like claimed I was one of those people who just like was always eye to eye with emotions. And I just always connected every emotion to some song or some kind of music, some like section of music. So it just seemed right to try to get into radio. Well, to get into radio and kind of make it quote unquote official and really have an outlet where I can share the music that I love and also just have my little unnecessary commentary into it. But I've always found it kind of difficult. I still, even though I've been doing this for a while, I still find it difficult to express in words how music makes me feel in terms of like when I also write album reviews for his magazine. So it's still very hard to express how a particular album or a particular track makes me feel, but it just takes time and practice. And I'm getting better at it, but I still find it kind of awkward because I find it sort of like revealing my soul if I really try to interpret this how I interpret it.
Right.
But that's what, you know, reviewing music is. It's like all about how you as the reviewer interprets it. So pretty cool.
And how long have you been doing the radio show for?
So I started radio in general back in 2007, and I went to 2011, and that wasn't a Metal and Coffee. That was a more depressing show. I was like really into like international progressive rock, and just so like it was. For some reason, I found that genre. No, not for some reason. I love that genre because I love progressive music in general, but it was just so melancholic and just depressing. And everything that I was playing, I'm surprised I even had listeners. Like, it was just so like depressed, and you might as well just go to sleep forever after listening to that show. But I've been doing Metal and Coffee specifically since 2012. Yeah.
Okay.
So I've been in radio for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still learning.
Awesome. Barry, any questions? Turn on your mic, bro.
No, not right now. I've been a fan of yours since like your first Sludge video, like
I'll be right back.
6 years ago or so.
Oh, that was 2012. That was so long ago. Oh my gosh.
when you were talking about your experience in like say when you're driving and you're playing the acid bath song.
Yeah.
I
still love acid bath.
Yeah, that was way back then. It's a crazy how long I've been watching you, and now I'm sitting here talking.
Well, thanks for watching that super old video. That was, my dreads were like this long in that video.
Yeah,
that's how long ago.
So can you explain to the people your fascination and your admiration for Swedish metal and Swedish guys and sort of thing?
Sure. So I don't even know how I came to realize that I listened to a lot of Swedish bands in general, but I think that just came with reading up on bands and realizing that a lot of them in my top 10 are Swedish. So yeah, I just coming to the realization, like bands like Graveyard, Asteroid, I believe Opeth is Swedish too. Mm-hmm. So Cult of Luna is Swedish, Callisto is Swedish. I just realized how many Swedish bands I listened to, and I was just like, this is kind of ridiculous. I must just have a thing for Swedish metal. And I just decided to make a video about it.
Awesome.
So, yeah. Apparently a lot, I mean, I kind of like take that to heart too, because if I see that a band is Swedish before even knowing or listening to the music, I'm like, all right, you guys must be good since I have a thing for it. So let's see what this is all about.
Exactly. Awesome.
Okay. What was the next question? Okay. Oh, so I guess you already told us what your favorite subgenres are, but I'll ask you your favorite subgenres or your favorite metal bands.
Of course. So as Barry already mentioned, one of my favorite subgenres is sludge, like sludge. All right. So, and also doom metal and progressive metal and just anything that's nasty and slow and just a wall of noise and distortion.
Nice. And what are
oh yeah, my favorite bands. Got it. It's always been hard to choose my favorite bands are.
It's hard.
But I mentioned one already. Opeth is an amazing band. They are a progressive. They're more so progressive rock these days, but early on they were more prog metal and black metal.
Yeah.
So I'll be honest, I don't really listen to the newer stuff. I stick to the older stuff where they were more metal, and that's just my preference. Nothing against what they are doing now, but you kind of have what you like and you kind of stick with it. My other favorite band is Cult of Luna. They are just an amazing 5-piece post-metal / prog metal band. Mm-hmm. Oh, I forgot to say post-metal is like my shit too. So Cult of Luna, they just have a lot of amazing compositions. Most of their tracks are like nearly like 8, 9, 10-minute tracks. Mm-hmm. And the things they fill it with are just really gorgeous. They sound very post-apocalyptic. Everything just sounds so cold and icy, and even mechanical. But yeah, I just love everything that they put out, and they rarely tour the US, but I was so happy last year or the year before I got to see them in New York City. So very happy to see them. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Cool. Someone said in the chat, Ebony, I was on your website earlier and I LMAO'd when you mentioned playing sick-ass metal.
Sick-ass metal. Yes. I have my, if anyone, anyone who listens to, who might be listen to my show on the regular, I literally say the same shit every show. I'm like, hey guys, MetalandCoffee, the sick-ass metal.
Okay, so
that's cool.
So, if you don't mind, I was curious about some of your takes on some hot topics that are going on currently in the metal scene.
Sure.
So, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this band. I actually wasn't familiar with this band myself, but Barry told me about it. Their name is, I'm going to butcher this, Watain? They're a Swedish black metal band.
Yeah.
But basically, earlier this year, they faced some controversy because the band's guitarist was seen in a picture doing a Nazi salute of some sort. So basically, what are your thoughts on just racism and other of these like problematic things? Or do you even think it's much of an issue in the metal community?
It's definitely an issue. And my take is that if I even hear or see anything related to that coming from any band, whether it's, you know, whether it's confirmed or kind of like alleged or whatever, I don't know. I feel like it's not the best to waste time on any band who has even showed that kind of an inkling of racism or sexism or misogyny, any of that. It's not even worth it. There's too much music out there that you can give your time to. And these bands, they literally aren't the best bands. You can find someone who does their sound much better either way. It's not even worth it. But yeah, I mean, I tend to sit as a person of color and like, you know, seeming to be like the subject of like metal like that and racism and all that stuff. Like, I personally don't do anything but ignore it. I'm not really interested in combating it because there are plenty of people who are taking care of that for me. And I'm just going to focus on the metal that is accepting and makes me feel good and is just, you know, for everyone and doesn't come with all that racist baggage.
And this was actually a conversation that I was having with my subscribers a couple months ago. And Barry, I'm shouting you out, Barry. I'm calling you out on this. But we were talking and he was like, well, did you know Phil Anselmo from Pantera, like he had his little history with saying some sketchy things. And I was like, oh, I thought it was just like one incident, you know. But he was like, no, he had a history of, you know, saying slick shit. I basically went on live and I was like, so what do you guys think about this? And unfortunately, I found that it was hard for people to separate Pantera from Phil the person. And so a lot of people were like making excuses for him and was like, well, you know, like he's not racist or he's not whatever. But do you feel like if one person in the band is racist or prejudiced or something, we should cancel the entire band, or we should just like cancel that one person?
Well, you know, bands are a team, right? And if one of your team members is a stupid, ugly racehead, you're kind of ruining it for the entire team. And unfortunately, the entire team has to take the consequences. I've never really liked Pantera, even before realizing that Phil Anselmo was racist from start. Like, he has so many incidents, like you already know. Like, it's kind of ridiculous how people still defend him. But no, I don't think the band should be canceled. But, you know, with today's world and even more people in the metal community not putting up with bullshit, and you know, they shouldn't put up with that bullshit because it's not even worth it. I don't know if, you know, if I were a judge Yeah, I would probably punish the whole band, to be honest. You know, get a new band, rename yourself because your name is tainted, to be honest. Your name is completely tainted, associated with racism. If you want to stick with that, that's cool. That's your choice. But yeah, dude, you're a team. If one of your team members fuck up, then all y'all are fucked.
Wow, yeah, I agree. What do you think, Barry?
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just really surprised on the reception that I got. Like, people were really like upset. Like, people were coming for me. They were like really trying to, like, a lot of people were like, I'm unsubscribing and all this stuff.
Yeah.
They were like so passionate about this band, but I was merely just, like, you know, asking people, like, you know, what do you think about this? And unfortunately, I've noticed with a lot of people is, especially today, if it doesn't apply to them, they don't really care. You know, like if they're not talking about their family or people that look like them or their race or their religion or their culture, like, a lot of people will be like, I don't really care. It's not a big deal, or get over it, something like that, unfortunately. So
yeah, it's unfortunate. It's like, I don't know, like, still willingly being, you know, blind about it. And because it's easier to be blind and just keep listening to your favorite band, even though they're racist.
Right. Yeah, people are saying that they agree 100%. Someone said Vinny from Pantera was pissed at Phil. Yeah. So I don't know, guys, is there anything else going on in metal that you guys want us to talk about? I guess they'll let me know. So there are, you know, a whole bunch of things happening in pop culture. So I don't know if you heard about it, but there's this situation that happened at a Kendrick Lamar concert. I forgot to ask you, do you like any other genres besides metal, or are you, like, you know, mainly, like, do you dabble with any other?
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is a secret, but actually my top genre is dance music. I love electronic music. Metal, you know, comes second, but
oh really? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
But I really listen to a lot of different music, so I love Kendrick Lamar too.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know if you heard, but there's a situation at a Kendrick Lamar concert, and he brought up a white female up on stage to sing his song Mad City, and she was singing it word for word and words and all, and kind of called her out on it. So of course it brought up this really big debate. Some people were like, she shouldn't have said it, period. Some people were like, if he didn't want her to say it, he shouldn't put it in the song. So do you have any thoughts on that whole situation?
I think it's just, I mean, it's pretty simple. I don't know. These things are just so kind of mind-boggling, because I'm just like, you know not to say the N-word. Just why?
Ebony.
Why are you still saying the N-word? Why do we constantly have to explain why you are not allowed to say that word? Come on.
Pete the Pirate says, Pete the Pirate, he's in the chat. He said, why did he bring her up there to begin with? What do you think about that? I feel like that was the other stance. People were like, well, he shouldn't have brought her up there, or maybe he shouldn't put that in his songs, or
maybe he was assuming that he had fans that knew better. You know, there's nothing wrong. I mean, Kendrick Lamar, Universal, so many different people love Kendrick Lamar, so many different races. It's all good. Yeah. And maybe he just thought that he had a fan that knew better, but apparently not. I'm guessing, but it's you know, it's normal to put that kind of faith in people. Like, oh yeah, so-and-so's a fan of me. I'm going to bring her up on stage. She's going to help me because we're all cool here. But maybe he just, you know, got stumped, got punked by it.
Right, right. Yeah, I was really conflicted with this one because I did, of course, I feel like, okay, if you're white, like that's just not something that you should say, because of the history behind it and everything. But then when it comes to rap music as a whole, I was kind of thinking like we're kind of in a day and age where rap is now like the most popular genre in the U.S. And a lot of people that go to his concerts and that buy his music are white, So I don't know. I was just thinking like maybe it's time that we retire the word. But then being a metal fan, it's like that kind of seems like censoring. And I know in metal, like that's what I love about the genre so much is that it's completely uncensored and unfiltered and all that. So it's kind of hypocritical for me to want rappers to do the same. And that's also why a lot of people like rap music too, is because it's just very raw. So I was kind of conflicted with that one. But yeah, I definitely understand what you and Barry are saying about it. This is really random, but me and Barry were talking about this kind of canceling culture that we have, especially if you're really active on Twitter. Like, we're so quick to cancel people in this generation. So, like, for example, I'm sure you heard about the Roseanne situation. Do you think that the entire show should have been canceled because of what she said, or she was the only one who should have suffered?
I think, see, this is the thing, like in our society, the consequences, free speech, of course, you should be able to say whatever the hell you want, no matter how, racist, sexist, whatever. Right. But the people that you're associated with, the people giving you a check, have the right to not put up with that as well.
True.
And so do I think that her show should have been canceled? Sure, because her show is shitty anyway. But yeah, I mean, there are a lot more instances where people have said similar things and their show has not been canceled.
Right.
But yeah, I'm kind of like indifferent because I'm not really, surprised that he said something like that.
Yeah.
But, her show is shitty. I don't even care about her show. So it's nice. It's kind of funny. It's like, it's laughable that her show got canceled. That's all I can say. I mean, if her show didn't get canceled, I wouldn't be super mad, but it's kind of like an extra like icing on the cake that her show got canceled. It's like, haha, you can't. people paying your check don't like that shit. They don't want to take flack for you haven't said that shit. So whatever.
Yeah, I agree with that one. And you said it before with Pantera when I asked you about like Phil and if the whole band should be accountable. I guess you can compare that to the Roseanne situation. I mean, she being irresponsible, but unfortunately, the entire cast is gonna have to deal with that. So
yeah. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So let me just read some comments from the live stream. Guys, feel free to ask Ebony any questions. Kevin Fong says, does Ebony prefer older metal bands? Most metalheads I know stick to the classic bands.
I actually do not. That's what I was kind of worried about this interview because you do a lot of reactions to old metal. And I'm just like, I don't listen to old metal. I'm aware of it. And there are a couple of reasons why I don't listen to old metal. Because I want to go to their shows. A lot of the older metal bands don't really tour. There are exceptions. I know there are exceptions.
Yeah.
But a lot of them don't really tour consistently. And with my metal library right now, I literally have a show to go to at least once a week. So that I just keep going. I love it. Right. Another reason is because I'm a radio DJ and I specialize in the latest and greatest metal and new metal. Yeah. It's my quote unquote job to keep up with new albums coming out every week and spotlighting them and just constantly being on the latest and greatest metal news. So yeah, I think it's mostly because I don't have time to listen to older metal because I'm busy keeping up with my DJing and trying to keep the new metal for my listeners.
Right. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And you're right. We really don't listen to a lot of newer stuff where I'm not even sure what's happening, you know, in the scene like as of now, because everyone like, the older stuff, like you got to listen to this Black Sabbath and all these.
Yeah. I love Black Sabbath.
Wait, my Anthrax caught in the marsh.
Oh yeah, but I guess it's great that people like you have you know, these radio stations so that, you know, if even though I'm not exposed to a lot of the latest metal music or bands, I can, you know, tune into your radio show and get informed. And
yeah, totally.
Yeah. Let's see. Someone said, "What are some of your faves?" You already said what some of your faves are, but what do you feel about Ghost? Do you like Ghost?
I love Ghost. I love them. I can't wait to see them. Yeah, they're just that really feel good band for me. When I'm just in a bad mood, I just put on Ghost and just start singing and just have a good time. I love their new album and I'm going to see them on tour, so I'm excited.
Oh,
and yeah, I love Ghost.
Yeah. I still have to check them out. Somebody wants to know, Tool for Rage wants to know, what are Ebony's thoughts on baby metal?
Baby metal. I think they're awesome. There should be more baby metal bands. It's really adorable. I love it. And I think that it's just giving more exposure to just non-norm metal in general, like, you know, not non-stereotypical rather.
Right.
So it's just really fun. Even though, you know, you might not everyone might like them, but I just think it's cool what they're doing.
Right. Yeah, me too. I think they're, you know, when I first discovered them, I was like, oh my God, this is really, really cool. And that I like about them is when like they first blew up, everyone on YouTube, like everyone was reacting to them. And I'm like, okay, even people that don't even listen to metal, but I'm like, if this is a way to get people to listen to something heavier, like I'm all for it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed that with a lot of, not a lot, but some people don't really care for like bands that are mainstream. But personally, like I was telling Barry this, I would love to see, you know, my favorite bands at the Grammys, even though I know the Grammys are shit. But, you know, I would love to see, you know, Beyonce and then, you know, a Ghost perform on the same stage, you know, like at the same awards show. I think it would be really cool if, you know, there are more bands to bring metal back into the stream and hear it on the radio more. And all that.
Yeah, absolutely. Ghost is definitely mainstream now. I feel like I blinked and then suddenly everyone knew Ghost. I'm like, oh man, they're not just to myself anymore.
Someone wants to know, what do you think of Body Count?
They're cool. I haven't dove too much into Body Count. I know it's, you know, Ice-T obviously. But I feel like Body Count, well, obviously it's more of a rap element, like rap metal, they might call it.
Right.
These days I'm not personally into that stuff and I don't go out of my way to listen to it, but I do like what I've heard of Body Count. And I do, obviously their message is always awesome. Right. So, and their videos are always entertaining and really thoughtful as well. So yeah, I've heard of Body Count, listened. They're not in my normal rotation though.
Right. Okay, cool. Someone else wants to know, do you like any metal bands that fuse electronic elements of their music, like Ministry or Nine Inch Nails, Rammstein?
Yeah, I love Nine Inch Nails. It's kind of like underground, but The Body is a really amazing band. There's a 2-piece electronic industrial metal. I believe that's the official term.
Yeah.
They just like, I swear, when I saw them live, they literally were just like banging on their keyboards, creating this massive electronic noise and screaming over it. It was pretty awesome.
They're called The Body?
Yeah, The Body. Yeah, I'll send you a link to that. It's cool.
Awesome.
But also the new Godflesh album, Post Stealth, is super, super industrial and gothic metal. I love it. Love that album. I love Godflesh in general. They've been around for a while. So I'd recommend that too.
Okay, awesome. And yeah, I guess that ties into the next one. Someone asked, do you like goth metal?
Oh yeah, love it. I don't listen to a lot of it. Pretty much those bands that we talked about are literally the only exposure I have to goth metal, but I'd love more exposure too. So if you have any recommendations, let me know.
Awesome. Someone wants to know, what was your first metal show?
Man, what was my first metal show? I actually don't remember. I remember my first rock show in general.
Okay.
And then I feel like they just all blended together because it was just harder rock. But my first rock show in general was Jimmy Eat World.
Oh.
Like in 8th grade. Yeah, but I still get down to Jimmy Eat World.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, what was my first big metal show? I feel like my big metal show was just a metal fest, like Decibel Beer Metal Fest when I was in college.
Right.
I just got exposure to a ton of metal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I got used to, I feel like by that time it didn't stick out to me too much because I had gotten used to feeling weird in a crowd and not being the only one. So I guess my first metal show does not stand out, but I've also been to like literally over 200 shows in my lifetime. So there's a lot that I don't remember.
Wow. Someone wants to know, I'll take a couple more questions. Someone wants to know, do you believe rock is dead?
Rock is dead. No. I'm not sure what is exactly meant by that question. My interpretation is maybe you might think that the older rock was better than the newer rock or something. I mean, that's acceptable. We have all of our opinions. Like my thing, I love grunge, 90s early grunge. Nothing will be over that. You know, Alice in Chains, Temple of Dogs, Soundgarden, all that stuff. Yeah. Sorry, I'm thinking about Chris Cornell. I'm not gonna cry.
No.
But I just think, you know, music and genres in general morph and progress to whatever is popular during that age. And I love metal where it is now.
Yeah.
And nothing against older metal too, even though I'm a super into new metal, you know, I'm the newbie. I appreciate all kinds of metal, and I don't think rock is dead.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Someone said, I guess this is what they meant. Someone said rock is less mainstream than it used to be, but there are a lot of underground bands. Do you agree with that?
Oh yeah, totally. Rock is, I mean, what is it like? Nothing wrong, but is it like mostly trap music right now?
Yeah.
I love trap music, but you're totally right. Like rock is not in much spotlight right now.
Right.
Not sure what the reason is, but hey, they have us. They have all of us listening to rock. Is that right? We go to their shows.
Yeah, true. Like, I think this is like Slayer's last tour, and tickets sold out. Like, you know, anytime Metallica goes on tour, tickets are sold out. So hearing them like on your, you know, local radio station like that, your pop radio station, but the fans are definitely still there in huge numbers.
Absolutely.
Someone wants to know, does Ebony have Caribbean roots, like Pink?
Nah, I'm just, you know, just American. I have these locks. People think I'm like Jamaican all the time, but nah. I'm not that cool.
And a few more questions. Let me see. Someone said, will Ebony ever do a live stream?
No.
Straight to the point, no.
You know, I always think I can do a lot of, so I mentioned how I do a lot of stuff already, like radio, podcasting. Have a few more projects in the midst, but yeah, YouTube, I'm going to stick to just being super, super light with content because I really don't have time and I don't want to commit to anything. I'm not sure about you, but like do you only do YouTube? And it's a lot to work with, right? It's a lot.
So yeah, I can imagine what you're probably really busy. It's hard to do, I'm sure, DJing and then also YouTube channel. Yeah, so.
Yeah. And I think it's cool that you're getting into going to be interviewing bands too. I'm excited for that.
And then I'll do one more. Someone wanted to know if you play any instruments or have you ever been in a band of your own?
No. Well, I play guitar, and I like singing, but I don't really have plans to start a band. I really want to, but that's also a time thing, you know. Like I want to do all those things, but you know, those things actually take dedication. So you better just pick one and stick to it. But it is in my hopes and dreams. I definitely want to start a metal band and be the front woman. It's going to be, here's my thought. It's going to be a progressive post-metal band with some sludge elements and a lot of ambience and electronic shit. That's what I'm going for.
That's super cool. That sounds amazing. Please make that happen. And I'll make this the last one. Someone wants to know if you can recommend just any modern metal bands.
Well, are there any genre in specific, or should I just pick any?
Yeah, you can, like, what's like the latest band that you're really into right now, I guess, modern?
Well, this hardcore band named Baptist released a new album, and I just love it. I'm really into like hardcore punk and metal as well. Like that seems to be, well, not seems, it is definitely a love of mine. So Baptist is a really, really, really great band to check out. Also, Lesser Glow just released their album. They are a post-metal, sludge metal band from Boston, and their album just killed. They're on this record label who I just worship. It's called Pelagic Records, and they released a lot of my favorite bands, like The Ocean, probably in my top 5. But that album is really, really awesome. And also, Yob just released their album, new album. They're just one of those classic stoner metal bands.
Yeah.
And I was listening to that album actually all yesterday. It's just really gorgeous and something to zone out to. And yeah, that's what I recommend.
Very, very last one, because I think since you listen to a lot of modern metal and, you know, you're a metal DJ, someone said the last Grammy Awards did not broadcast the metal award category, and actually I feel like they haven't done that in years. I can't remember a time when they have. Barry, do you remember a time?
No, don't think so.
Nah, they never do it.
Right. But Kevin wanted to know, do you have any opinion on that?
Not necessarily, because Grammys aren't really reputable.
Yeah.
Not at all. No.
So I'm not even interested. I never watched the Grammys.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even watch it. Well, if they were to like decide randomly, step out of their comfort zone to present the metal category live, sure, I'd tune in.
Yeah.
But nah, I don't feel any kind of way because they're not a reputable place for recognition, and yeah.
Yeah, and there's actually a story a couple months ago of the metal awards at the Grammys or something. Of course, they didn't televise it, but what really told me and what really proved to me that they don't know what they're doing is they put Tenacious D and Metallica and what was it, Motorhead. They put all of those bands in one category, and they ended up choosing Tenacious D. But it was like, what are you doing? Like, they're all so different, and it doesn't make sense. Like, if you really knew what you were doing and if you really cared about the genre, you would never put bands, you know, in the same category and just pick a random.
Yeah.
No shade to Tenacious D, but like, they don't really know what they're doing.
They're not even anything close to metal. I feel like they're just a parody of stuff. Nothing wrong with them though. We like them, that's cool, but they're not metal. Yeah.
Do you know who Manowar is? Manowar? I think
Manowar?
Yeah, I think people were telling me about that band, but I think they're another like a comedic kind of metal band. But I feel like, you know, Tenacious D, like that's the kind of bands you put in one category and not and Slipknot, and that didn't make any sense. But yeah, so I want to thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview with me. I'm like, sorry, I was like so nervous.
Don't be nervous, it's all good.
Moral support.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I was like really like shocked when Barry was like, "Hey, Mono wants to interview you." I'm like, "I'm cool now."
I was sure you were gonna say who? Like what? Why would you?
Who's that? No, I know you. I know you.
So you have a horror podcast coming up soon?
Yeah. This is totally stepping out of my comfort zone. I don't even know why I agreed to do this, but it's just gonna be a horror movie review podcast, and it's gonna be on YouTube and with one of my friends, and we're just gonna be having a reaction to horror movies. It's not gonna be a full-on reaction to like a 2-hour horror movie, but we're gonna have clips in there, and we're gonna talk about horror movies. Because I actually do love horror movies. I'm kind of nervous because I'm not a movie reviewer.
Right.
You know, some of them really get into that shit. I'm just like, yeah, I didn't see anything that you're talking about, but sure. But I'm always into horror movies. I want it to be intelligently scary. I want everything to make sense. And horror movies these days are very more so miss with me than hit, so it's gonna be an interesting thing to pursue.
That sounds so awesome. And when can we expect that?
I don't have a date yet. We're still talking about the details. But it'll be within the next month on the Geek Goddess podcast. But if follow me on Twitter, I'll post all the things about it.
So before you leave, can you just let everyone know all your social medias? How can they get in contact with you, your show?
Sure. Well, I'm most active on Twitter, and my handle is MetalandCoffee _. Make sure you have the underscore at the end of MetalandCoffee, because that's who I am. I wasn't fast enough to get the one without it. On Facebook, facebook.com/MetalandCoffee. Instagram, same, MetalandCoffee. Sure, you can check me out on YouTube. I'm actually in the chat, so you can just click on my name and subscribe if you want. But like I mentioned before, I don't post that often, so set your expectations low because I can't. But yeah, thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.
Thank you so much. And your radio show is on Sundays, right?
Right. Forgot. See, you're better than every Sunday, 10 a.m. to noon Eastern Standard Time. I have a radio show on WKDU, and their website is wkdu.org. And my show is called MetalandCoffee, and I actually post all my show recordings on mixcloud.com/MetalandCoffee. So if you want to dive in to see what kind of stuff I listen to, definitely check it out.
Awesome. Thank you so much once again. I really appreciate it. This was really awesome. And thank you guys for being interactive in the chat. Everyone is like, well, okay, Batman666 said, I love you, Ebony. So
I love you, Bat.
Love.
So cool.
Thank you. And I'll
Thank you.
Keep in touch with you and continue to follow your radio show and all that great stuff. So.
Of course, and likewise, I look forward to more reaction videos.
Okay, bye guys.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.